Oh,
Or
max
is it a
width,
little
I
bit
think right,
bigger?
middle bar. Oh, I see.
There you go.
Cool.
There.
Well, hey there, everybody. I think what I'm going to do first, before I share a few pages, you can see what other pages I've got up here right now, but I've been talking with Jason Miller about certain publications, and I've mentioned this to a few of the artists, but it's not anything that's really been put down on paper yet, but I thought maybe I'd kind of show you what we're thinking of with certain publications when we have a front page where the flag is used as part of a story, and then the story continues on below. And I'll start with the two pages that I've got here that are just about identical, except for a few little changes. This was the original. Jason pointed this out to me. He said two of the papers that are most commonly find themselves in this situation just because of the way they're configured are the Detroit Lakes Tribune and also the Wadena paper. If you'll notice, I can zoom in here maybe if I know
That plus sign right at the top.
there. Okay, there we go. A lot of times this area will be given over to the flag plus maybe a standalone story or a cut line or something like that, or a story that jumps. But occasionally, like in this case, it's a story that actually continues on down below here. So this is all part of the story. And what he was noticing, and he pointed out to me, and now I look for it quite often, is this bar across the page here kind of cuts the story in half, just visually. It's not like it's a terribly bad design element because that's where that line is. But he was saying, and I really agree, we should be able to be a little flexible when we have a situation like that where we want to use a nice big photo and use the header and keep in the skybox, but then have the skybox be part of the whole centerpiece. Saying we can feel free to move this bar up to the top. We can get rid of those two horizontal lines just because they don't need to really be up there if they're off the photo. And I'll show you what the alternative would be. Just a couple of simple little changes. What I did with this one was just move that up to the top and put it off the photo itself, just so it's visible, it's not competing with the photo, and then everything else just bumped down, which kind of ties in the whole story. And I've an added line here just because that's a separate story. But I've mentioned this to a few of the artists who have worked on these pages, and I noticed that from time to time I'll still see it happen, and I think when I talked to Alicia about this last week, she said probably the best solution would be to add a little note to the template off to the side saying, in the case of a story that is incorporated up into this area, but also continues on below with the subhead and such, we can be a little more flexible with moving things around, deleting certain things. And if I find some other examples of this going forward, I can send them out and just maybe show alternatives. But I'll follow up with Alicia and see what we want to do as far as which papers really need that. Because a lot of papers, for example, Brainerd doesn't run into this problem just because it's got a differently configured flag and it seems a little more flexible. It's just some of these are design artifacts from many years ago, and now that we've gotten a little more flexible with where we put photographs and how we integrate photographs in flags and do things like that, or into skyboxes, that allows us a little more flexibility.
Jack, do you know if any of that's been discussed with the editors? I just worry that if one of us does move that information and the editor's like, we can't move that stuff.
I brought that up with Jason just because, and I mentioned it to Alicia. They're kind of looking at it from different angles. She's kind of like, well, I don't know if we can really do that without letting the editor know. Whereas Jason has said, well, we're the designers and we should be able to be more flexible. But I think it is a good idea to probably give them a heads up about that rather than just surprising them. I'll follow up again with it, just because it's a good point. It's one of those things where they could get a little bit proprietary about
Right.
what they're used to and how they, I know that certain editors, are
Right, some
very
of them,
specific.
yeah, some of them, they don't care
Oh, yeah.
really how much of the flag is covered
Right.
and stuff, and then other ones are like,
They
oh,
want
you,
it to
you
be.
got too much, should cover it
Mhm.
up, we can't have the, you
Right.
know, we
And
can't
the,
be missing those words.
exactly. And I was talking to one of the artists, I can't recall which one it was, one of the page designers, who said, for example, in it was Purim, perhaps, they are pretty flexible about even moving the elements in the bar. They've got a different layout, a different bar than the Detroit Lakes, for example. But they might be able to move. The price can bump over to a different area if, in fact, it's going to be covered up by an element in the photo, because we do a lot of knockouts. We can be a little flexible there too. It doesn't have to always be just kind of set in stone where it's located. But that again is something that's a good point, because certain editors are very flexible about that and they're willing to work around. Others are like, no, you can't do any of those things.
I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna grab our Google, just so we can, see if anyone else had any questions
Oh, sure.
about this, that they might be commenting. Okay, looks like we're fine, but just thought I'd
No, that's good.
just in case. There you go. All right.
All right. Anyway, those are just, that was just one little thing that has popped up from time to time, and I've mentioned it, but it hasn't ever been, it's not really been implemented at all. But it might be something to consider. If it's a standalone story, that's no problem. That everything can remain where it is. But just to try not to visually cut the story in half. But again, like you said, we'll have to follow up with the editors too about that and see what they say. So the other things I've got to show are just a few pages. This time, these are all pages that I have not shared yet, and they've all been done just in the past week. I thought I'd kind of do a little different take on it this time, but there's just been a lot of nice pages that I've been seeing since just in the past week. I was out of town for a couple of days last week, and so I was getting caught up on Monday and Tuesday, and I thought, hey, there's so much stuff here. I can't share it all in my daily snapshots, but I'd like to share some of it with you guys, just because I think there's some really nice stuff. This one really stood out for me. This, I should probably, I want to give credit. Where's the name? Does it show the artist? Emily Beeman. Okay. This is Emily Beeman's layout for the Brainerd Dispatch. And again, Brainerd has a lot of, I've always enjoyed they've got really nice photographs, and they are really open to allowing graphic interpretations and knockouts and fades and things like that to be used. And I thought this was a really nice effect that Emily gave this page with the out of focus leaves in the foreground that she overlapped and feathered nicely and really captured that depth that and also just picking up those wintry muted colors. I thought was a very effective way of doing this page, and a nice placement of the header, but really allowing the photograph to be the star of the page is really an effective way to do it. Let's see, this one, this is kind of cool. This is a page that Becca Clemens did, and it's kind of a variation on a page that she did. This is the one that was in Fargo's in the forum a few days ago, Sunday, to be exact. It's similar to the one that she did for a 3-page spread in Duluth that I shared yesterday, but I think it's fun to share this page just because it's got some of the same elements, but it's got a different interpretation too. It's a different layout. It's for a different paper. And again, I asked her yesterday with the Duluth paper what she had done and how she'd gone about doing some of these neat things. She found some brush painterly swatches online someplace, and then she brought them into Illustrator, turned them into vector files, gave them colors that echoed the colors that were in the photograph behind it. And she did the same thing with the Duluth one, and some of the same colors too, but she varied it. And I just thought that was a really nice creative way of putting this page together. I know that all you artists are very good at picking up tones and hues that are in a photograph and bringing them out throughout the design to give it a real sense of unity. And this is just one of many examples of what you guys do so well. So I'm just going to hide this too. Not going to stop sharing, but I'm going to hide it. Next. Oh, this was a nice page. I think this was Tanner Larson. Yeah, this was a page Tanner Larson did. I just thought this was a really well done sports page. He does a lot of sports pages, I know. And again, it was the Sunday Forum, using a nice big action photo of the Bison. We always get great photos from Dave Sampson or Vosberg, if he's whoever's covering the game. So that start off with a great photo. But then I just thought he did a nice job of balancing. He's always got to deal, or any layout artist who's doing these has to kind of deal with the two columns by McFeely and Kolpak every Sunday. So, and there's ways of doing this that are effective. This was a nice way he did it, with kind of offsetting the photos so nothing is bumping heads here. Picking up little color variations that reflect the team colors. But keeping it a nice clean page, very easily understandable, and you see the whole page again. Again, just another nice. There's always an abundance of really good looking sports pages in all of our papers, and it's fun to see. And I really got an appreciation of what artists have to go through when they're designing pages coming up against deadlines, and really admiring of their versatility and of their resourcefulness. This was a really nice page by Cynthia Duffy. What I more than kind of thought was nice was she again picked up. This is actually the cover of a book from some years back, and that became kind of the focal point of the page. But she again sampled colors from within that book and brought them, gave the whole layout kind of a synthetic. She synthesized the look of that cover and brought those colors to bear throughout using somewhat similar fonts, and just gave the whole centerpiece there a nice cohesive look. So we'll zoom back in there. Like I say, these are all just pages from the past week, which is kind of neat just to get kind of a snapshot of really recent work. I know in the past I've been sharing pages that I might have shared a few weeks prior and some of the emails, but I'm going to try to do this more often because there's so much I can't really do it all at once. Here's a page from the Rochester paper, and I believe it was Paula Chetry. Yeah, and Rochester, I've noticed, seems to have a little bit more, I would say, traditional. I mean, it's got different fonts. It has a little bit more regimented layout look than some of the other papers in our Galaxy papers, but I thought Paula did a really nice job here with just a real clean looking page, utilizing the big center photo and some of the other photos, and just having it laid out in a nice layout in a centerpiece that flows visually nicely and kind of captures the look and the style of that particular paper. Because I know that was probably an adjustment when Rochester first came on board, was having to kind of deal with different fonts, a different look in the paper. Just everything's a little bit different than some of the other papers within FCC. I thought this was a neat looking cover because I really liked the West Central Tribune from last week, and I was impressed by Angela Eklund's layout here, because here we've got this centerpiece utilizes the photo, but then I like how she put and framed the header within an area of the photo that was just kind of a neutral area that would have been, just rather the least important part of the photo, and yet here it's flanked on the top and bottom by the board, the group of people, and then the closer backs of the heads at the bottom. I thought this was a nice solution to incorporating the header in a creative way. And it's the little border top to bottom too added a nice visual touch. So yeah, I thought the whole page looked very well balanced, and that really stood out when I was looking through all of a couple of years ago. Now, this page I really had fun looking at. This is Marcy Nichols' page for outdoor. That was Western Community. Yep. And unfortunately, it's more colorful than the screen is showing. It looks kind of washed out here. I will probably be sharing this tomorrow in one of the layouts so you can see the PDF. But there's more blue in the background here, and it's just a little more vivid than what you see here. But nonetheless, it's a really interesting page. I thought, you don't often see a point size of this magnitude on a page, but oops, let's go back. It's a nice way to really grab your attention, and then the whole layout was cleverly done using different shaped photos. I really like what she did with the word out, with the little reflection underneath it, using a little mirroring down there to give you the ice. I'm guessing she probably did the same with this figure. He's out on the ice, but she added. There's just a neat little extra design element, and then even the little arrow that she put in there is it turns that area of the page into a nice focal point. And then the whole page itself has a lot of information. It's got a visual chart on there, and really a very attractive page all over. But like I say, it's even better looking than this makes it look. At least on our screen, it's not quite as vivid as it is on the PDF if you're viewing it on your own screen. So anyway, those are just a sampling of what has been produced in the past 6 days, and as well as the ones I'm going to be sharing today and tomorrow and have been this week. So I've just really been impressed by the amount of really good stuff that's produced on a daily basis, and the variety it's a pleasure every day to see what is being created and what's showing up in all the dailies and weeklies. So thanks for your attention, and I'll let Erin conduct the rest of whatever you've got going on.
Shut that off.
Okay.
All right. So managers, do you guys have anything that you wanted to share with the group at all before I end our meeting? All right. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, so I'm sure they will follow up, send an email or anything. Okay. Emma says nope. All right. So yeah, we will go ahead and end everything and get back to work. Thanks, guys.